we'll get started with our meeting today. Thank everybody for being here. First item on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes from our July meeting. We've had a chance to look at those, any changes or any additions. If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from July meeting. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Motion carried. Next, we'll review a financial statement. Ms. Chris.
All right, for the month of July, you can see we had 5.19 million in operating revenue. We had operating expenses of 6.9 million. That brings us to a net margin of minus 1.5 million, or a positive 748,000 if you exclude Project M. Our year-to-date margin is minus 7.6 million, or positive 4.7 if you exclude Project M. As you can see, sales for July compared to July of last year, we were down in every class, down 3.4% in residential, 3.8% in commercial, 6.9% in industrial. Total sales were down 4.8%, and revenue from sales was up 3.6%. This is just a graph to show our net margin for the month, excluding Project M, and our year-to-date net margin if we exclude Project M. As you can see, total sales for July were 8.7% below budget, with large industrial down 19.9% and non-large industrial down 4.2%. Weather for July was above average. There were 569 heating and cooling degree days for the month, which is 6% above that compared to July of 22, which had 537, and it's 5.2% above the long-term monthly average of 541. River flows for the Flint were above average for July for the most part of the month, as you can see by the graph there. Hydro production was 9.8% above the long-term average, and 11.7% more than the production of July of last year. SEPA was 10.6% above average for the month. Again, we currently have Unit 2 out of service for maintenance and reassembly, as well as Unit 3. And Ronnie will give an update on that. We have a meeting with FERC tomorrow about the dewatering of Unit number 3 to be able to get in and work. So he'll give you an update on that in current projects. Cash position, our available cash is well below recommended reserves, as you can see. Cash available for operations at June 30th was 2.4 million, and cash available for operations July 31st, we had 695,000. Change in position of 1.7 million. What was the bank balance this morning? 2.2 million.
The bank balance was, if you incorporate outstanding checks, was 3.2 million, less $1 million for deposits.
So 2.2 million. And we did the authorization for a $2 million transfer this morning from the MCT. As you can see, MEAG bill, we had several large expenditures for the month. MEAG bill being 4.3 million of that. So it was up from last month from 3.8. So we did authorize that transfer. So far we have transferred $8 million from the first of the year. Now we did budget 12 million in transfers, so we have held off as long as we could, but we had to make the decision to transfer this morning, and I will ask for a possible 2 million transfer for next month in case things don't work out as well as we hope. But that is all I have for the financials.
If our heating and cooling degree days, well, we were up 6% over last year, but yet our sales were down. Is it because of the efficiency of modern electrical appliances? Why would the
that's running off a budget as well too. So when the budget was approved, when we did a forecast, we looked at an increase as well. But you have some, like the large industrial, that have not run as much as they should, we expected them to run. With Norboard not running but one line for a little while in the first part of the year, as well as Golden's running well below what we thought they would be running. So that has an impact as well. But we
were down in all classes.
we were down, but the energy efficiency things are a big deal. I mean, that does make a big impact on residential.
I don't mind higher development, anybody I talked to was, I reckon we're talking about offsets.
Yeah, so your consumption was down, but your revenue was up.
Yeah, I know, if they hadn't made the rate adjustment when we did.
You wouldn't be,
We'd
yeah.
been in a bind.
Right.
And the cash flow, if I might add, is about a month behind revenue, because what we billed out in July and is shown as revenue on the statements, we haven't started collecting those monies yet because
Okay, so
they're
there's
not due until
No.
beginning late next week.
So we should see a bump next month.
In
Right.
the cash, hopefully, yes.
Yeah, so hopefully between what we have coming in and this month especially being as hot as it was in August, so, I mean, we're hoping that it'll be a lot better, but this is just, this is also June being so mild. We taken for, take example, June was mild compared to, last June and June's in past years. So, I mean, this still is an effect from that as well.
Irrigation should have been up too. You
Um,
have a chart on it?
We don't have it broke down, cause I think it's broken down into the, non-large industrial. I don't have one.
And Becky's kinda explained it just struck me as odd that, we'd have a hotter July, but yet our sales are down. That they all kind of go together, but if there's a month lag on the collection, then that explains it.
Yeah, so July and August are gonna be
Big revenue.
revenues.
Irrigation.
Out of my pocket, anyway.
Ma'am?
The irrigation usage was down a little bit from July of last year, and dollars were almost identical.
Yeah,
No, won't be a problem, yeah.
All right, is there any other questions about the financials? Is that all we got, Chris?
yep, that's
Yeah.
all for the final.
All right. We do need a motion to approve the transfer of $2 million from our competitive trust account to be used if needed.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. And we also need a,
Take a file, put the motion, finance statement, no more.
we need a motion to approve the financials. We need a motion to approve the financials.
So,
Got a motion and a second to approve the financials as presented. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
It was 22.67 before the transfer this morning, so, and I don't think Sarah said anything that they've transferred yet, so it's gonna be around 20.
Report on the MEA board meeting.
All right, so, as you can see, the fixed and variable costs were over budget, by about 20 cents per kilowatt hour for the month, and about 3 cents per kilowatt hour under budget, for year to date. As you can see, fixed and variable costs were under budget by about 33.7 million, with every, project being under budget except the combined cycle, and that is in part due to MEAG has been running the combined cycle over budget because of the low natural gas prices. Variable costs were under budget by 23.7 million. Projects 1, 2, and 3 were under budget due to the fossil units running at reduced levels due to the low natural gas, and the combined cycle, again, like I mentioned, was 12.2 million over budget due to those low natural gas prices, so running a lot more than what they had budgeted. Supplemental was $4.5 million under budget, and that's because of reduced market purchases. We were using all of our resources to serve our load instead of buying off the market. As you can see, fixed costs were under budget by about $10 million. Natural gas prices were well below budget again, and they're expected to remain low for the remainder of the year. And actually, they're running about 50% below budget is what they're actually running right now. Henry Hub was about $2.66 per MMBTU, with a forecast at about $3.16 for the remainder of the year. And MEAG's expecting about a $3.66 per MMBTU for 2024. As you can see, the spot market is following the same trend as the gas prices. So it's well below budget, and they expect it to remain below budget for the remainder of the year. Nuclear units ran about 7.9% above budget. Unit 1 at Plant Hatch is running at a reduced power level. They were having some issues with circulation pump, so they're running about 90%, I think now. They haven't really given us an update on when it'll be returned to 100% power yet, but that unit is running at a reduced level. Unit 3 is not on this report at the time because it only ran 12 hours July 31st, but it will be on the next report for next month. Coal generation is running about 46.9% below budget due to nuclear units running on budget and natural gas prices remaining low. And the coal is at 62 days of full load storage. Again, there's 70 days max, so they're not running that on economic status right now. They're still doing forced burns to control the coal inventory. And once they get that under control and back to a stable number of days of storage, they'll put it back on the economic dispatch status. The combined cycle plant ran 8% above budget, as you can see, and its utilization factor has been 86.5%, and that's all because of the low natural gas prices. MEAG expects higher than budgeted generation for the remainder of 2023 because of those low gas prices. So they're going to run that unit well above what they have actually budgeted. You got to think they were looking at last year. Gas was running $5, $6, $7 per MMBTU, so, and it's running around anywhere from $2.50 to $3 per MMBTU. SEPA was 10.6% above budget, again due to that wet weather for the first part of the month, and MEAG expects closer to near normal for the remainder of the year. So we expect the flows to go back to normal for the rest of the year. Off-system energy purchases were 20.3% below budget. Again, that's all the units running to serve the load, the native load, rather than purchasing off the system, off the market. They expect that to remain below budget for the rest of the year as well. The generation report, you can see for the month of July, we were 54% non-emitting, with 50% being nuclear, 4% being hydro. And the 12-month rolling is 62% non-emitting, with 56% nuclear and 6% hydro. Energy consumption comparison, you can see that MEAG's energy consumption year to date is 6.9% less than that of 2022. So not just us, system-wide, you're seeing a reduced consumption pattern. And you can see it's running 8.2% below budget for the year. So they are running below their budget for the year as well. And that mild weather again for the month of June and is a big factor in that. Off-system sales were 97.7% below budget, or $22.6 million. Some corporate affairs. Albany is receiving a new company, Diamond Door Products. They make they're a steel door manufacturer, and they're investing $5 million in creating 25 new jobs at that facility. In West Point, Kia Motors is investing $200 million in creating nearly 200 new jobs, and they're accommodating the assembly of all-electric EV9 three-row SUVs at that facility. So a big load and big job for West Point. The federal side of things, on July 17th, the Biden administration released the National Cybersecurity Strategy Implementation Plan, which seeks to ensure transparency and a path for coordination in the federal government's oversight of cybersecurity as it relates to the nation's critical infrastructure. And on August 8th, MEAG Power submitted its comments to the EPA on the proposed greenhouse gas rules, and that is that carbon capture rule that we've been talking about, and that they did submit their comments, and it was the comments of the MEAG community as well. So some recent events: MEAG held its power participant orientation August 1st and 2nd, and we had 4 employees: Ladrika Daniels, Aaron Hurt, Brian Fennell, and Angela Kraft that went to that. And that's a good little tour that they can take. They go up for a day and a half, and they tour MEAG. They take them through everything that goes on at MEAG, and kind of just allows the participants an opportunity to see what actually happens to the day-to-day operations of MEAG. They had the Georgia Chamber Congressional Luncheon on August 8th, and then they had a congressional staff tour of Plant Vogtle on August the 15th. So, and I know we sent out an email on that. There's an upcoming date for MEAG, or for us to visit Vogtle, and we like to know who would like to go on that. There's only 9 slots available for that first tour, and I think the next one's going to be sometime in December. So if you'll just let myself or Ladrika know if you'd like to go to that. MEAG Power ECG Economic Development Bus Tour was August 15th and 16th, and they went to Albany, Camilla, and some other cities, and Thomasville, I do believe. And I want to say we're slated for the next bus tour that they'll have. I'm not quite sure when that'll be. Some upcoming events: Chad and myself are going to a cybersecurity workshop in Forsyth next week. MEAG Power, another power participant orientation is going to take place October 24th and 25th. And then the Mayor Summit at the Chateau Alon is November 10th through the 12th. There's a picture of Vogtle Units 3 and 4 with Unit 3 on the left under power, as you can see, and number 4 hopefully not far behind. Just to kind of give you an update, Unit 3 for its commercial operation, initial synchronization or tie to the grid was achieved on April 1st. Power ascension testing was completed, and the testing at the 25, 50, 75, 90, and 100% reactor power levels were completed. The final test was completed on Wednesday, July 26th, and commercial operation began on July 31st. Again, just another picture of Unit 3 there under power. And as you can see, this is Unit 4. They're starting to do a lot of cleanup. Everything is coming together very well on this. And they're starting to get everything cleaned up and making it ready for reactor load. Some recent activities: the hot functional tests were completed May the 1st. Again, just to note that it took 90 days for the hot functional testing on Unit 3. It took them 45 days on Unit 4. So fuel receipt has been completed, and all the fuel is on site ready for fuel load. They've completed all the ITACs required and the NRC 103G filing as well. So that allows fuel load and moving into power ascension testing. So they have completed that. They've got a little bit of primary coatings to work on and finish, and they want to do that before they load the reactor. And they got to complete some final pre-op tests and system turnovers before they can start the the testing, ascension testing. So some upcoming milestones to look for: fuel load and the ascension testing. And at the time of the meeting, they were hoping that they will have the coatings done last week. So they haven't sent anything out, but they may already have the fuel loaded and started the ascension testing. This is just a snapshot of the Unit 4 reactor cavity before they've got water in it. And this is a snapshot of the with it filled with the water. As you can see, everything's nice and shiny. They're trying to, this is some of the coatings that they're working on, trying to finish up. And like I said, they were hoping to be finished with those within a few days after during the MEAG meeting. This is the Unit 4 turbine building. They're working on cleaning scaffolding up and getting it cleaned up to get it nice and ready to go. And just a snapshot of Unit 4's control room as well. Still doing a little work in there, but for the most part, they have it ready to go to start the testing. And that's all on the MEAG board.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Chris about the board meeting? All right, here now, we'll move on to the next subject here, will be a supplemental needs forecast.
So after the board meeting, we had a supplemental needs meeting with Matthew, and this is basically showing you where we're going to be at starting 2024 with Unit 3 and 4 being online. So this is what we're projecting for our next year's load management season. And as you can see, we have some coincident peaks and reserves, and our requirements are about 92,000 kilowatts. We have our own resources between our hydro and our gas turbine of about 15,000 through SEPA, Wansley, Scherer, Hatch, and Vogel's 1 and 2. You can see where we're at with those. And then you can see Vogel's Unit 3 and 4, we're going to have about 27,000. So about 27 megawatts off of that. So we have a total resources of about 111 megawatts out of 92 that we require. So you can see we're going to be running around 19 megawatts of excess once Units 3 and 4, once Unit 4 comes online. So we have the opportunity, once Unit 4 comes online, we will be selling, and there's opportunities to make what they call IPTs, inter-participant transfers, and those will not be brokered through MEAG, but MEAG has pretty much said this is what the Energy Authority says the energy is worth, and you can either do reserve capacities at those prices, and then you have supplemental capacity. So if they so choose to have some supplement that they need to purchase, then they'll purchase it at those forecasted prices, and then an hourly market price will also go into effect as well. So just a kind of an informational thing to show you where we're at, where we should be next year when Unit 4 comes online with all of our resources through MEAG and our own resources. So we're hoping to see a big turnaround on that. That's
So
all.
we were talking about before selling our excess to other members, MEAG participants that were.
There's
that
an
were not
opportunity, yeah, so basically what they want to do is wait till Unit 4 comes online, and that's where you're going to see where all the participants really stand as far as what they call short or long. We'll be long, we'll have an excess, but there's going to be several cities that are short still. That just gives the opportunity to sell to that city if you so choose to do an inter-participant transfer instead of selling on the open market.
Will MEAG negotiate that transfer on
No.
behalf of clients, or will it be in between?
It will be in between the cities and the participants. Now, MEAG will provide us with all the information, but they're not gonna be the broker per se. They'll give us all the information, you know, the forecasted prices and what we set forward.
What about sales that go beyond MEAG numbers?
MEAG does that for us.
MEAG's gonna
Yes, sir.
broker those.
Yes, sir. It's only through the participant, interparticipant
Interparticipants
that
is
we
where
work
our-
as so it would be Chris County Power and City of Sandersville, for example. That would be brokered through us with MEAG giving us the information that we need to make that decision. If that's the route we so choose.
For administrative fee.
This is also a benefit for our community that we do have this to offer for some industry or business that may be interested in coming to our town, that we do have plenty of power for them,
So, and we have been working through that. Grant has been doing a good job, brokering that, and this is actually, we would love to see an industry come and take this load off of our hands, so we're not selling on the market. You get you're guaranteed that money at that point in time. Market, you're just like anything else, you're playing the market. It could be up, it could be down, so.
So good.
But we're sitting once Unit 4 comes online, we'll be sitting very good as far as, is in a position to pick up any extra load if we need that, and be able to provide that to a business, so if it so chooses. So that's what we've been trying to push.
And our financial situation will stable out. Should.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, and as it sits, if it goes to a market, again, you're playing market. You're not guaranteed that it's gonna be $50 per megawatt. It might be $23 per megawatt. Well, we would want it to be $50 while we're selling, but again, that's a market game, and it's gonna all play off of natural gas prices, everything else that drives that, so.
Any other questions for Chris about the financials? Or Becky for that hand? All right. Hearing none, we'd entertain a motion that no, we don't need to do that. Okay, we're just talking about the forecast, all right? The next item will be report on current projects.
We've got the FEMA check that was in the mail last month, apparently is no longer in the mail. It was returned to Atlanta for insufficient postage. So it's supposed to be mailing it again tomorrow.
All right.
And, it's actually that time we'll be putting together our bank bid packet, for y'all to look over for next month board meeting. We go out to bank bid every 3 years, so our current, agreement ends December 31st.
And we're currently with
Colin,
Colin. Okay.
that's all.
The ash pond closures is moving along really well. I'd say we're probably somewhere around 98% ash removed. A little bit left in a couple of small spots they're still working on. And they're doing you have to find the bottom of it and then take 6 inches of soil below that. And almost all of that is completed as well. So there's still some work to go, but it's moving along really well. So they threw some manpower behind it and trying to go ahead and get it closed out. So, a couple of weeks ago, the ash pond itself was certified clean by our consultant, and that has all been submitted to EPD for their approval, which may take a little while because they're, backed up with all of this, but probably 45 days is the minimum it'll take to get their approval of it. Could take a little bit longer, just depending, like I say, on how they move through it. So that's a big milestone, is to actually have all the ash and the refill pretty much on the ash pond. The gas turbine is complete, except for they're coming in on September the 12th to do some punch list things, mostly cosmetic. It's been running well for the last month. We've been using it for load management as well, so it's been nice to have that on these high days. Unit number 2, it's big stuff we're trying to put together and put in there, so it's a little bit slow going now, but we are reassembling it, so that's a good thing. So we keep moving on with that, which also affects the thing we talked about, unit number 3, where we had those 2 gate links break. You have to dewater unit 3 to get in there and just make sure everything's okay, because you don't want sign off on us dewatering more than one unit at a time. So that's what we have a call tomorrow to discuss with them, whether it's, safe to do that to the structure of the house, powerhouse, because what they do is it's basically like a ship. If you keep taking too much water out of the bottom, it's hard to believe something like that could float, but that's what they say. It could actually shift. If it moves, you're in trouble. So they wanna make very sure that we're doing it properly and that they're okay with it.
Have we ever had two dewatered at one time?
Not since I've been there. I won't say that it wasn't years ago, but, they do all these studies and stuff, and they've said that that's just not what really allowed, except under short time periods, so we think we got a pretty good case. It won't take long to do it, just deep water. We're not gonna fully deep water. There'd still be water in the bottom of the water room, as we call it, down where the runner is, so it would be completely deep watered, so we think that would be enough to get the approval to be able to do it. And, another thing, we are starting, have actually started the final resurfacing of gate number 1, so 20-year project is hopefully finally coming to an end by the end of this year, so that'll be nice if we can have that completed as well.
Did we ever resolve our issue with the ash removal where they went a little too deep and hauled a little more than we needed to haul, or is that still in limbo?
So it's still in limbo.
Yeah, our consultants are still going back and forth with Kimron over, actual, because it's all based off the surveys. It's like a electrical code or law book, I guess you can, everybody interprets it done in different ways, so that's what they're going back and forth, is trying to come to an agreement on how much was taken out that didn't need to be taken out. So still in discussions on that.
And just a note, we had talked about, we're gonna ask for, if they allow us to do it, it'll be after Labor Day, weekend. So usually that's when late traffic kind of slows down a little bit, so we won't be doing anything until after Labor Day, if they allow us to do it. If they don't even allow us to do it, then we'll just wait till we finish number 2. It won't really matter too much, so.
Then we had some, we had to add rock to the back of across to the other side or something, wasn't we talking about
That's the
something like that?
erosion that's- Yeah, it is kind of stabilized, and FERC considers that not a safety issue, it's a maintenance issue, so we've just been holding up, spending the money on that. It's not been eroding any further, so we just need to keep a close watch on it, make sure it's okay, so we just kind of waiting till we get through with some of these other big projects to jump on that one. It's not a huge project, but take a little time and money.
Right. All right.
Which we had our annual inspection, dam safety inspection, probably 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
FERC came down, the representative, so we got a good report from them, so.
First time I remember we ever got a letter back that said they had no comments. They usually at least gonna have one comment about something.
Yeah.
First time I've ever heard of them saying that everything was fine, so that was good. So I hope that'll help us with the discussion tomorrow.
Right. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Right. Thank you. Right.
Batesville substation, we're still working on it pretty steady, between the weather. Got some still up in the air, we'll start on the low side of it, then if it rains, we'll work on steel, if it's not raining, we'll work on the, conduits in the ground. Hopefully it's been dry the past week or two, so it's helped out. Got a few construction projects, we've, getting ready to stable lines and install that out there at the, concrete place with the CTS concrete right out on Bayville, get ready to do that line pretty soon. And we've had some regulators added on 280 west to help with some voltage issues out there. That's about it, and we're also working on 1170, maintenance, trying to help with blinking issues out that way, which is on Second Street, 4th Avenue area.
All right. Thanks, sir.
We're still working on, connecting fibers to get our, electronic reclosers in different areas that Rick's kind of set up, get those communicating with their SCADA system, which, as we said last month, it'll reduce outage time by giving us valuable information on where outages
Sadie was a little above average, which we'd like to stay below that line. Sadie was below average, or right at average. Katie was, right above average. And, service availability index was below average, which is, we like to be above it, but the change in the score numbers so minute, it's, looks like a large difference, but it's really not. And this calls codes for the month of July, main calls for each small animal birds and tree covers. That's calls this year to date. As far as current projects, I'm working on commissioning 2 other electronic reclosures on Penn Road and, Coney Road. Working on finishing thermal inspections and substations, so.
Thank you, sir.
We sprayed about a couple of weeks ago for this month, on the lake here, and then, the docks are still being erected up, it's, somewhat kind of slow, because it's being so hot. A lot of the contractors coming earlier, leaving out there midday. So, they're still being erected, and there's a pile of them out there still. They got a lot of customers calling, and asking about new properties coming about. I guess real estate, they're asking questions about what can they do with seawall, and when does the lake drop down, I explain that to them, and I also send a contractor list out there to, they have somebody they can get in contact with about either building seawalls or not. As Clint and Rick kind of touched on, we've been helping with the system upgrades and improvements with the regulators and reclosers, of course, keeping up with the maintenance and daily work. We also, we finished one project, the convenient care on 16th Avenue. We have a little bit of work to do there. We have a line running underground under that road, and my understanding there, tearing up the road, redoing the sewer system, whatever. We had to build some overhead to feed that motel, and, a little bit of work to do there. We got that completed, got out of there. And of course, with the increased temperatures, and you see that reflected in the outage, reports, we had some of these afternoon thunderstorms been a little extra spicy. Pull up a little bit more stuff, so guys are ready to hop it with that kind of stuff. That's really about it.
Mr. Clark?
Chairman, just want to thank the commission for working with us on the firing range. It's coming together out at the fish hatchery. The lines you'll be installing here pretty shortly. Like I said, that project's coming together, and the sheriff really appreciates Chris and certainly the power commission. Looking forward to having a firing range for Christmas. So, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Is there anything else to come before the commission today?
Other business.
Any other business?
Just for everybody's information, we're gonna start an annual, charity golf tournament. The Power Commission is, we wanna get ourselves back out in the community. And this is one way we are gonna team with the hospital. As you know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the first week in October is Public Power Week. And so that Friday, October the 6th, we're gonna host a memorial golf tournament, and all the proceeds that we raise will donate to the Oncology Center for Breast Cancer Awareness. So just to kind of let you know, be aware of that. We're reaching out, like I said, we teamed up with the hospital to get a hold of their people. They have a very big tournament that they put on, and it does a lot for the community. And this is just something that we feel like is going to help show the community that that's what we're here for, is to help them out. And it's a valuable resource to have a community hospital, and so that's what we want to be able to do. And like I said, all the proceeds that we make will be donated to the oncology department for that. So that's just a little informational piece if you see it. If you know anybody that's interested, we'll have it on our website that you can go and download either a sponsorship form or a team form. And if you want to have a team, just let us know.
Anything else? All right, thank you, sir. All right, we do need to, we have a need for an executive session, is that correct? We do need to have an executive session. Could I get a motion to approve of executive session? Got a motion to approve? Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Have an executive session in 5 minutes. Thank everybody for coming.